depopulation agenda. All this and more on today's World Situation Report.
Here's the World Situation Report with Kimberly Gogan in the office of The Guardian.
Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. It's getting late over here. Well, not late, but it's late for me because it's been a really long day. Lots of stuff has taken place in the last couple days, and none of it really pleasant, but I will tell you about it so that you are informed as to the progress, I guess you would say, we have made on this planet. I'm laughing because it's just been such a long day, and people never cease to amaze me. And I'm not even talking about people. I'm talking about others. And there was a point in time for me where, I was having conversations. This is many years ago. I was having conversations daily, most days, all day, with Marduk, Enki, and Enlil. And that was on the telephone, so not anything weird. And that I had spent a lot of money, which was a lot for me, to fly to meet with them and that kind of thing. And just a couple months later, I watched them all sit at the computer terminal at the time. And it's a special terminal. It's not a terminal like you would use your laptop or those types of things. And they all tried to erase me from the alpha system and input someone else. And for a couple of days, I was pretty shocked because I thought that they were ready to help us achieve balance on the planet, which is what it was supposed to be more than a decade ago. And I thought that they were ready to do that and that we were going to work together to achieve some kind of balance. At least that is the line that they told me. And once I figured out that that was not the case in any way, shape, or form, it took me a good 3 days to kind of get past it. I'm like, where am I going? What am I going to do now? And then after about 3 days of that, I'm like, well, I guess I'm going to have to figure out how to use this system all by myself. And that's what I ended up doing. And it took me a long time to figure out how to use alpha at the time. And to figure out that, a few years after that, that I needed to build an intelligence system for myself, and I needed to build a number of other things because I couldn't trust anybody I was talking to, that was from the intelligence world or, even others, from other locations. And I needed to make sure that, I knew what was going on so I could make an educated decision for my own self. And that's part of the reason why we do these newscasts as well, so that you are informed and you can make proper decisions for your own self. I'm not trying to make those decisions for you, but yesterday was another one of those days where I am just shocked and surprised. This time, because of what happened the last time, it took me minutes to recover and not days. But I was truly surprised that after us throwing out, an olive branch, so to speak, and to Michael, Raphael, and Gabriel, knowing who they are and that their duality, that they were on both sides. And knowing that they were on both sides, I know that there was always a chance that they would pick one side or the other. But after they go home and they go back to Source, and Source basically told them that they needed to come here and clean up the mess. And they had 1 day to prove to him or it, however you refer to Source, that they had the best of intentions on doing so. So they come back here. They have a lot of discussions about what they're going to do. And it turns out they decided to leave. They decided not to stay, which, okay, fine. But they didn't have to make the giant mess that they made on the way out. I mean, you talk about leaving with a bang or a splash. They definitely did that. And it was definitely apparent over the last 24 hours that these folks here strayed way too far from Source and definitely joined the dark side as it relates to everything that's going on this planet. So now, when they return to Source, as per their covenant with Source, which has nothing to do with me, their soul has been terminated forever. So that was the consequences, and that's what they chose. I guess, hey, they've been around for a long time, thought that it was a great time to end this saga. I'm not sure, but that's what they decided to do. But not before they decided to help the deep state along with all of their plans. So, number one of the things they did is they actually made an agreement with the Order of the Dragon, the Order of the Black Sun, and the Japanese faction there too, that they would now be the controller of all the world's assets. They gave them lots of their own keys to systems that they used to use to try to keep a neutrality on this planet, meaning a balance. And along with that, they promised them a whole lot more access. They said to these folks, once they got back to Source, that they would get Source to agree to make them the owners and that they would have full access to control and command of Alpha and Omega, which it's a dying system anyway. But that's what they promised them. They told them it'd take no longer than 3 days, so between now and the full moon, surprise, surprise, that they would then have access to the system. Now, that was a full-on lie. The second that they showed up there at Source with said proposals, both of them were shot down. All of them were shot down. And so, therefore, there were no control and command keys that were going to work. However, they did manage to make quite a mess today with the limited access that Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael had. By quite a mess, I mean, they gave them access to an earthquake program. There was a number of, let's just say, places in the world where there was alien technology right underneath the tectonic plates, which could have actually caused a situation like you saw in the movie maybe 2012, where we could have seen enormous amounts of earthquakes and flooding. They did give them access to that. They gave the crazy people access to that. I cannot believe they did that, but they did. It was short-lived. The programs went away along with the alien tech that was underneath there, but not before we saw a few small little earthquakes in Syria and a couple of other places. So those programs went away. Next, they also gave them access to a program that could create a pole shift. Wow, isn't that great? So lucky for us, they didn't really know how to use it anyway, but it was spotted before they got it. So that is a positive. The next thing they did was actually allow for 2 remaining archivists that came from the depths of the lower astral to bring additional alien technology to help these crazy people back to this planet. They came in through Penn Station, Union Station, and a few other places in the world, in Europe, and brought as much stuff as they could overnight, which we had to then clean up today. So that was really exciting for us, too. Other programs they'd like to do, obviously, when they brought in the space junk and a few other things, they went to the old location of CERN in Switzerland and a few other places in the world to where they decided to bring in some more Omega tech in order to help these people create the following things. Let's see. Programmable bacteria, mycoplasma, access to vaccine qubits, and a number of other things that we had already dismantled, but they revived these programs and made sure they handed over proper keys to the Nazi crazy people. The locations that they put this were evident as to what they were expecting to happen because CERN Switzerland was one. There is a QUIX, Q-U-I-X, quantum computing company in Netherlands that also received alien technology. underneath the old Shield facility, which is a very high-level NSA facility in Wichita, Kansas, U.S., under the Belgrade Fortress in Serbia, under a company called AQT Quantum Computing in Austria, the tomb of Kazanlak in Bulgaria, the Citadel Fortress in Budapest, and Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Remember where that plane landed for 9/11? Yeah, that was the access place to the underground utopia of the actual world government, which were not humans, although they look like humans. Right there underneath that memorial. Ever wonder why they landed that plane there? Well, now you know. Next, the castle in Hurlford, Scotland. And then, of course, in addition to that, all 14 Hitler headquarters in Germany, in Poland, and in the surrounding area. There's a couple in Russia as well. Unbelievable. And then, of course, these facilities were geared toward all of those Nazi programs of days past for genetic modification. And all kinds of diseases, so that we would be left here on Earth with only a pure race. Wow, I think it's 1948, and I've lost my mind, when I saw all the stuff that they did today. I guess they thought, if you're going to go out, you're going to go out with a bang. But they gave 0 to our side. Now, I can think of a reason why they would give 0 to our side, because we are actually working on our side. We're building golden ages, we're changing alien technologies, we have access to gateways, we have access to actual quantum systems that these people don't have. So maybe they thought they were going to even out the playing field or something. But if that was the case, then they wouldn't have turned all of the world's assets over to these people in an agreement that was rejected. So not quite buying the balance program there in any way, shape, or form. It looked like they were going to torch this planet and everyone on it. And allegedly, these people were given information on where to hide and where to go so that they would not be affected by the incoming storms on this planet. Now, one thing I can tell you is if any of us ever went in one of their Apocalypse number 16 programs, y'all would come with us, meaning we would take the deep state along with us. Kicking and screaming, maybe, but they would all come with us and we would make sure of it. There would be no immunity for them for all these diseases they intend to spread. So today was another one of those days ending in Y where the deep state thought that everybody was getting paid. And then, of course, they were all proud and boasting everywhere about their newfound wealth of Earth and that they finally won World War II, I guess, and we're going back to those days. But it was all a lie. I look at this for my own self. And I say, well, I listened to Marduk and Enki and Enlil for a few years, and that was all a lie too. And it's going to take them a few days to probably get over the lie. It doesn't mean they're not going to continue to try to do bad things between now and the new moon. Hopefully they don't have anything left at this point, but I don't know that, of gifts that these alleged angels gave them. But we'll see. We'll see if there's anything left. It'll probably be a busy weekend for me, mainly making sure that we don't have any kind of, end the world apocalyptic software or programs or anything, any alien technology that could flip the poles left on this planet. So, and that's why the news is, late again today, and I apologize for that. But, there were a lot of things that needed to be attended to because I was trying to figure out who the heck did this and why? But turns out we found out who it was, and nothing has changed. At the end of the day, there was a few points today where I can say that, you might have felt a little bit of an illness for a little while or some fungus or something crazy because they were going at everything that is toxic to humans for a while there. With their eliminate the rest of us humans and bring in only theirs. They want to breed all their own people. And like I said, it's 1948. But this is what they're actually talking about. So I think we should probably do the opposite. And I think that we should take all of the humans, in whatever shape, form, color, wherever you descend from. And we should breed those humans on this planet like we always do. We have families, we have children, and we can eliminate them because as far as I'm concerned, their brain damage should not be passed on to other humans on this planet at this point. I think their brain is severely damaged. I don't know if that's a genetic disorder with their bloodlines, but they interbreed all the time, and that's never a positive thing, as we know in science. Yeah, I think that we should eliminate the imperfect fit race on this planet, and that's the deep state in their various bloodlines until we can't find any more. Let's hope that they can stop breeding between now and then. Maybe we'll take some of those programmable bacterias and mycoplasma and make them all sterile. Wouldn't that be great? Maybe we can use one of those programs to create them to be a bunch of eunuchs. Wouldn't that be awesome? Because at this point, I don't think they deserve to have any kind of breeding capabilities whatsoever. And my frustration is pretty high today, I've got to admit, because, I expected them to leave. There was a part of me that expected them to leave. I never expected them to do this. Being from, where they are originally from, I guess, when they say fallen angels, they fall far, because I would never think anyone up there at all would ever disobey anything coming directly from source. So I'm really surprised. I really am. And the damage they could have done to 8 billion of sources creations, that's all of you, would have been shocking. Plus, a keystone planet. But, hey, what do we expect from these people? Do we expect them to, get a conscience, some kind of morality, some kind of a thought process that, they're not leaders if there's no one following? I'm sure they think that they could do this better on this planet. But, I don't think they can. And part of the reason why, I said the things I said about the complaining and to come with some positive solutions and challenge yourself to find those solutions is because I have faith in you. And I believe our Creator has faith in you too. And I think that if we all can come together and put aside our differences, whatever that is, and come up with positive solutions and stop expecting the governments to change. I saw your comments. They're never going to change. They are never going to change. We can build a separate system outside the system that works for everybody without funding and without support from beyond, and systems and networks and surveillance networks and all the lovely things that they used to have. They'll just become a group of people sitting in a house. That's it. Or a few houses, around the world. Do they still have a military? Sure, they have a military. I don't consider, after what I've seen, the United States military and the Qatari military and the Italian military and the Russian military and the Ukrainian military and the United Kingdom military, and I can keep going on, and the Chinese military and everyone else that's involved in this mess, after what they've done in the last several days, not only to their own people, but to other people. I think we don't need those people in any way, shape, or form. As far as veterans and soldiers, you're not read in on what the upper echelon does and how they put your life in danger and what they do to the people on the planet and the things that they make you do. I'm not faulting those people in any way, but I will tell you that I have zero faith in the upper management of any military establishment in any country on this planet after watching all of this. So I believe it's fair enough to say, and I know this broadcast is a little bit short, but I've been probably about 2 hours of sleep and probably 18 hours into the day at this point. And I'm going to say one last thing about those people. I think they can take their world alliance, and I'm saying that for a reason, and just stick it where the sun doesn't shine, not even the black sun. Yeah, I feel like that today. So that is where we are at this moment. Hopefully they're out of toys. Eventually they will run out of toys when no one else can actually create them for them. And we will move on our side. I have no intention at this point of reviving any old structure from any old system. And that's why the second part of the reason why I challenged all of you to look at new systems and new ways of doing things. Yeah, Carrie's going to build some of their own too, to help out all of humanity, because we realize not everybody is in the know. Not everybody knows all the things in this world that you do. I understand there'll be a lot of education, not only on your spiritual selves and how your bodies function and how to fix your bodies and all of those types of things that will happen in the near future. But I will say, as far as reviving any of those old systems, if any of you did happen to take a look at those systems and you could see any aspect of it that you actually think will work, I mean, I'm talking food supplies, I'm talking housing, educational programs, any aspect of anything that we receive in our homes and the chemicals that are in there and what they do to us. I don't think you'll find anything that is going to work for us in the future. To address some of the people that made several comments about taxes, I also mentioned in our last news episode about what's called tax avoidance. It is 100% legal. This is not like your people to cash in your birth certificates or anything. It means that you spend your money on charities. You form your own charity. You form your own trust. You do all your own things to do what you need to do to pay as little in taxes as possible. And it's definitely a process. If you're unfamiliar with it, maybe you could look up information on how the Getty family set up their circle of companies and foundations so that they could not pay any tax in the United Kingdom. So it's definitely possible. I'm not saying you'd pay none. I'm just saying that you could get it down to next to nothing if you actually took the time to work at it instead of took the time to write a 4-paragraph message on the app to tell us about how bad taxes are. We all know how bad taxes are. We all live on this planet, and there's probably not one of you listening to this that has not paid taxes in the past or pays them currently. We also understand that governments force you to do that. But if there's a whole other system you're living in, and there's a whole military force on the other side, and there's a whole security force on the other side, who is going to bother you? This is what I'm talking about creating a whole new system that intends on protecting the people. We can take the good people that were in the military, because I'm talking about your soldiers. They don't know anything about what we're talking about right now. There are good people in police departments. They don't know anything about what we're talking about right now that actually do want to serve and protect the people. And those are the people that we need to look at, or some of you that might have been in the military in the past. Like we did that video about the retired gentleman that was a veteran, and he could figure out where the shots were coming from. He knew how many shots. He knew what the distance was based on the sound of the shots. So there is a lot of good people out there that just want good things for this country and for their respective countries that have that type of experience. But if this planet's going to get cleaned up, I'm sorry, it's up to us. It's up to you. It's up to all of us to do it, because it's never going to work if you expect one lady, be it me, or one man, be it somebody else, to do it for you. Things won't get done. It's going to take a village to raise this planet, and humanity and all the things that are wrong with it right now that don't serve us in any way. And I know it's hard to start from scratch. I know it's hard. It was hard for me, after talking to these people for years, non-people for years, and then having to say, oh my God, it's over. They betrayed me. It's over. Now what am I going to do? It took me some time, and I think it's probably going to take all of you some time to realize we need our own internet, one without backdoors and surveillance and censorship and other things that we don't like about the internet. We need to be able to get information from one another till we can learn how to get it from each other directly in the future. We need access to proper medical care and not be concerned about an FDA or a CDC or a WHO or any of these other people. And we need to not allow them the tools to spread anything to all of us. There's always some kind of fear of something ever since, 2020. We need to figure out a way around that. We need to not be fearful of that. We need to figure out how to do it because it can be done. It's been done before. And we can be successful if we all join together and come up with a plan. Stop arguing about the semantics about, you didn't have that experience, or you don't like those people, or I don't, like that country, or, I don't eat that kind of food, or whatever it is. Those are just semantics. Basic human needs is what we're looking for. And basic earth needs so she can carry us for billions of years to come. This is what we need to focus on, not semantics, not the old. I know people that have been divorced for 20 years that still complain every single chance they get about their ex-spouse. 20 years later, or about a job they held 10 years ago. I'm like, well, you don't have that job anymore. Or how Enron or insert company name that hasn't existed in years, it screwed them over when they were an employee. It's over. It is over. Or what your mom did or your dad did or your brothers did or your siblings did or something that happened many, many years ago that is over. Can you imagine a world where it doesn't happen anymore? And it's going to be up to you to create that world where those bad things don't happen anymore. I'm not to say that people aren't going to not get along and be divorced or what reasons did you get married, or is there a better way to find out, who you love? I mean, I don't know. Maybe there is. Maybe there's something that, we all forgot when we meet that person and we stand in front of that person, and how your body changes and you get the butterflies in your stomach. Instead of just saying, oh, well, I'm at this age and I really should be married by now, or my parents arranged a marriage, depending on where you live in the world. We need to figure out a better way to be and a better way to live. That's all I'm saying. And I understand that I received 9,000 complaints about people complaining about things that, without any solutions from any of them either. And I knew that was going to happen. But that hits a button and it strikes a chord with people sometimes when we ask them to stand up for themselves, their children, their grandchildren, and future generations. And they're going to tell you 1,000 reasons why they cannot. And you know what? When they tell you 1,000 reasons why they cannot, they're absolutely 100% right. Now, if you tell me 1,000 reasons why you can, I guarantee you can. But again, the choice is up to you. Thank you for watching today's World Situation Report, and I will see you guys on Monday.